Hello everyone. This is all about volleyball. And what we tackled for today is about volleyball. So, I am Shinelyn Valarcona and BSTM 2C3. So, first is volleyball. How can we define volleyball? Volleyball is a team sport where two teams, typically with 6 players on each team, are separated by a net. The players on the two teams hit an inflated ball back and forth over the net, trying to avoid having the ball hit the ground on their side of the net. To put it in simple terms, volleyball is a team sport in which the goal is to keep the ball alive while it is on your side of the net, but to kill the rally by putting the ball down on your opponent's side of the net. Volleyball is an exciting, fast-paced sport. It has been an official part of the Summer Olympic Games since 1964. Volleyball is a sport played by two teams on playing court by net. The object of the game is to send the ball over the net and ground it on the opponent's court, as well as preventing the same effort by the opponent. Each team has 3 hits for returning the ball, in addition to any block contact. The usual pattern is dig, set, and spike. The defending team will try to block the opponent's spike as it crosses the net and go to any length to keep the ball off the floor. The first team to score 25 points and be a minimum of 2 clear from the opposition wins a set. The first team to get 3 sets wins the match, should a match go to a 5th and deciding set. This is played to 15 points and 2 clear. A team involves 6 players on the court plus the option of using a libero player backcourt. Then, up to 8 subtitle on top. So, look at the picture. Yan. So, after we define the volleyball, so we proceed to history of volleyball. So, in 1895, William G. Morgan, an instructor at the Young Men's Christian Association or YMCA in Holyoke, Massachusetts, USA, decided to blend elements of basketball, baseball, tennis, and handball to create a game for his classes of businessmen, which would demand less physical contact than basketball. He created the game of volleyball at the time called mintonet. For a long time, volleyball was played in Asia according to the Brown rules, which, among other things, use 16 players to enable a greater participation in matches. During a demonstration game, someone remarked to Morgan that the players seemed to be volleying the ball back and forth over the net, and perhaps volleyball would be a more descriptive name for the sport. On July 7, 1896, at Springfield College, the first game of volleyball was played, and shortly after in 1897, the first volleyball rules were published. Definition of terms. So, what is the meaning of vast? Volleyball is now of the big 5 international sports, and the definition International de Volleyball or FIVB, with its 222 affiliated national federation or 222, is the largest international sporting federation in the world. Mintonet. Initially, the game was called mintonet. Before changing quite quickly to volleyball, the same name has survived over the years, with one slight alteration in 1952 when the Administrative Committee of the United States Volleyball Association or USVVA voted to spell the name as one word, which is the volleyball. Rally point system. Formerly, a team could only win a point if it served the ball that started the rally. Winning the serve back from the opposition was known as a side out. Since 1998, volleyball has been using a new scoring system. Teams score a point on every rally regardless of which team serves. A kong, a one-handed block in volleyball, was referred to as a kong, named after King Kong and the way he swatted planes from the top of the Empire State Building in New York City in his movies. Libero, a defensive specialist with specific rules. The libero adds an extra dimension to the backcourt part of the game, improving the defense and reception of teams. This player wears a different colored uniform from the rest of the team and can be switched in backcourt for any player. The libero cannot serve, spike the ball over the net, or rotate into the frontline positions. Rules and regulations. The number of players in volleyball is 6 on each side, with the team separated by a net in the middle. The team that wins the pre-game coin toss gets the opportunity to serve the ball first. The aim of the server is to hit the ball over the net from behind the baseline over to the opposition's team half to start a rally. Teams are allowed a maximum of 3 consecutive touches, after which they have to send the ball into the opposition's half. The player that receives the serve attempts to control the ball and loop it in the direction of one of their teammates. This is known as the pass, or the bump set, which is executed with the forearms. The player that gets the second touch is usually the setter, who loops the ball up as close to the edge of the net as possible, setting up a smash, known as a spike in volleyball. The opposition team attempts to block the ball by often positioning their tallest and most athletic players close to the net, and the rally continues until one of the teams commits a fault or if the ball hits the ground. Volleyball scoring system. According to the rules of volleyball, matches are best of 5 set contest. The first 4 sets are played till one team scores 25 points, and if the teams are tied at 2 sets each after 4, the 5th set is played to 15 points. Each rally is played for a point, and the team that wins the rally and scores a point gets to serve for the next point. If the game is tied at 24/24 or 14-14 in the 5th set, the set continues till one team builds a 2-point lead over the other. Winning a point. The most common way that points are won in a volleyball match is by spiking the ball into the opposing team's half. However, teams can end up losing a point due to other faults as well. These include stepping over the line while serving. If any part of the body touches the net, double hit when the same player hit the ball twice in succession. A team taking more than 3 touches before hitting it over the net and hitting the ball beyond the boundary line. Outside spikers. Outside spikers are key players in the team, often having 2 touches within one transition, a set of a team's 3 touches. This is because they usually form part of the service reception unit, wheels also being a key part of the attack. There are 2 outside spikers in any team, placed opposite each other in the lineup, and predominantly attack through the left side of the net or from the back part of the court. Setter. The setter is the tactical center of any volleyball team and must be good enough to keep the big blockers from dominating the net. The setter must feed his or her best hitters while also looking for opponents, blocking weaknesses such as a short player on the front line or a slow centromedo blocker. The third one is opposite spiker. The opposite spiker is positioned opposite to the setter in the team lineup and attacks through the right side of the court. While sometimes they are involved in the service reception, they are usually kept out to focus on their attack. It is quite common for the opposite spiker to be the main attacking outlet and score the most points in the match. Middle blocker. The middle blocker is often the unsung hero of the team. Their main focus is blocking, hence the name as opposed to middle spiker. But they also offer a lot in attack, either by spiking through the middle of the net or attacking at such a tempo that is confuses or delays the blockers on other side of the net. Their main job is to move according to the set of the other team to present a double block or even triple block across the whole net. Libero. The libero is a defensive specialist with specific rules, adding an extra dimension to the backcourt part of the game. They are aimed at improving the reception of teams, lengthening the rallies, and is a position more suited to shorter players who are faster and more agile. This player wears a different colored uniform from the rest of the team and can be substituted in backcourt for any player on the team. The libero cannot serve, spike the ball over the net, or rotate into the frontline position. So, we proceed at the volleyball court. So, volleyball court, first is the dimensions. The playing court is 18 meter long and 9 meter wide and is surrounded by a free zone 3 meter wide on all sides. The space above the playing area is known as the free playing space and is a minimum of 7 meter high from the playing surface. For FIVB, World and official competitions, the free zone measures a minimum of 5 meter from the sidelines and 8 meter from the end lines. The free playing space is a minimum of 7 meter high from the playing surface. Playing surface. The playing surface is flat and the light color. For FIVB, World and official competitions, only a wooden or synthetic surface is allowed. White colors are required for the lines. Other different colors are required for the playing court and free zone. Line markings. All lines on the court are 5 cm wide and are a light color different from the color of the floor. The boundary lines are the two lines and end lines. The center line divides the playing court into two equal courts, 9 meter times 9 meter each. This line extends from beneath the net from sideline to sideline. On each court, the rear edge of the attack line is drawn 3 meter back from the middle of the center line and marks the front zone. Zones and areas. The front zone on each court is limited by the axis of the center line and the rear edge of the attack line. The front zone extends beyond the sidelines to the end of the free zone. The service zone is a 9 meter wide area behind each end line and extends to the end of the free zone. It is 15 cm long and drawn 20 cm behind the end line as an extension of the sidelines. The substitution zone extends for both attack lines to the scorer's table. The libero replacement zone is part of the free zone at the same time as the team benches, extending from the attack line up to the end line. A penalty area, 1 meter to 1 meter, is located the control area outside of the end lines. Nets and post. The net is 2.43 meter high for men and 2.24 meter high for women. It is placed vertically over the center line. It is 1 meter wide and 9.5 to 10 meter long and is 10 meter square black mesh. The height of the net is measured from the center of the playing court. The antenna is a flexible rod, 1.8 meter long and 10 millimeter in diameter and made of fiberglass or similar material. It is fastened on opposite sides of the net. The top of the antenna extends 80 cm above the net and is marked with 10 cm stripes of contrasting color, usually red and white. The 2.55 meter high posts are placed 0.50 meter to 1 meter outside the sidelines. The posts are rounded and fixed to the ground without wires. So this is the volleyball court. Yan. Volleyball officiating. First is the first referee. The first referee is in charge from the beginning of the match until the end. The first referee has authority over all members of the officiating crew. The first referee should talk to all the officiating crew members before the match starts, going over any questions officials might have about their responsibilities. The first referee should have a talk with the second referee before the match starts, discussing issues such as pre-match protocol and anything that will help the match run more smoothly. Second is the second referee. The second referee should establish a rapport with the score, keeper, and libero tracker. If the scorer and libero tracker have a problem or don't understand something, they should be comfortable enough to ask the second referee for help. Third one is the scorer. The score or the scorekeeper. The scorekeeper's main job is to make sure the score is correct at all times. The scorekeeper uses a score sheet to keep a track of the game. If there is a difference between the score on the score sheet and the visual score, flip score, electronic scoreboard, or etc., the visual score should be changed to match the score on the score sheet unless the mistake on the score sheet can be determined and corrected. One of the referees should check the accuracy of the score sheet at the end of each set. Here are some of the responsibilities of scorekeeper before and after the match. First is the pre-match. Before the match starts, the scorekeeper should fill in the pre-match info, team names, starting lineups, etc. During the match, record points when they are scored. Watches the servers and indicates immediately to the referees when a server has served out of order. It's also good preventive officiating to watch teams rotation in case assistance is needed for the second referee to determine the correct team alignment. Records player substitution and team timeouts. Record any sanctions. Records all other events as instructed by the referees. Records the final result of the set. In the case of protest, after the first referee gives authorization, the scorekeeper lets the game captain write a statement for protest on the score sheet. After the match, records the final result of the match and signs the score sheet. Fourth one is the assistant scorer. The assistant scorer or libero tracker sits at the scorer's tables next to the scorer keeper. The assistant scorer's main function is to record libero replacements onto a libero tracking sheet. The responsibilities of a assistant scorer: notifies any fault with libero replacements, operates the manual scoreboard on the scorer's table, and checks out the scores on the scoreboard with the score on the score sheet. 5. Line judges. If only 2 line judges are used, they stand at the corner of the end line that is closest to the right hand of each referee, diagonally from the corner. The line judges watch the end line and sideline of the respective corners. For FIVB and official competitions, 4 line judges are used. Each line judge stands in the free zone 1 to 3 meters, lined up with the imaginary extension on their respective line. Line judges' main responsibility is to make signals to help out the referees in making judgment calls. Line judges may be instructed to use plugs to make signals. The line judges signal ball in and out whenever the ball lands near the lines. Touches of out balls by players receiving the ball. Ball touching the antenna. A serve ball crossing the net outside the crossing space, the space between the antennas. Any player standing off the court at the moment of service. Server foot faults. So, we proceed at the volleyball game. So, first, we define game. The game of a volleyball is played by 2 teams, 6 on each team. The teams are separated by a net. The teams compete with one another using an inflated ball. How the game is played: one team serves the ball over the net to the other team with the intention of placing the ball in the opponent's court. The receiving team attempts to return the ball back over the net to place it back in the serving team's court. Objective of the game. So, this is the objective of the game. The objective of the game is to win the match. So, this is all. Yan. So, this is all about volleyball. So, first, we define volleyball. Second one is the history of volleyball. So, third one is the rules and regulation. Fourth is about court, the game, and the officiating. So, this is the end of the volleyball.